Welcome everyone. I'm Dr. Oa Ajani from UKZN. Today we're starting with an exciting journey into Education Studies 101, also known as EDES 113. On this first slide, you'll see the title Visual Lecture Slides. Over the course of this presentation, we'll explore key concepts, ideas, and insights related to education. So get ready for an engaging and informative session. Let's get started. Welcome to our second slide, where we begin to explore the foundation of our course, the Introduction to Education Studies. Here, we'll look at what education studies really entails, understanding how education shapes societies and individuals alike. Next, we'll consider the South African context. It's crucial to recognize the unique historical, cultural, and social factors that influence education in South Africa. These elements shape policies, practices, and the experiences of learners and educators across the country. We'll also broaden our perspective by looking at global viewpoints. Education isn't only a local issue, it's a universal concern. Comparing different countries' approaches helps us understand diverse challenges and innovative solutions in education worldwide. Finally, I'll give you a quick overview of the module itself. We'll cover what topics we'll explore, the key themes, and how this course will help you develop a comprehensive understanding of education from both local and global perspectives. All of these points connect back to our overarching theme, understanding education as a dynamic and vital part of society, both here in South Africa and around the world. Let's take a closer look at some important concepts that will help us on this learning journey. First, understanding subdisciplines is essential. It means getting familiar with the different specialized areas within a broader field, so we can see how they connect and support each other. Next, developing academic literacy is crucial. This involves honing our skills in reading, writing, and critical thinking, which are the foundation for engaging deeply with complex ideas. Then, applying theories is about taking those ideas and making them practical. It's not just about knowing the theories, but understanding how to use them to analyze real-world situations or research questions. All of these points tie into our overall learning outcomes. By the end of this, you'll be better equipped to navigate the discipline, communicate your ideas effectively, and apply what you've learned in meaningful ways. This interconnected approach is key to mastering the subject and reaching your academic goals. Let's take a moment to explore some fundamental concepts that are central to academic success. When we talk about reading, writing, and thinking, we're really highlighting the core skills that underpin scholarly communication. These aren't just isolated abilities, they are interconnected processes that enable us to engage deeply with ideas and knowledge. Scholarly communication, for example, is about more than just sharing information. It's about engaging in a meaningful, critical dialogue within your field. To do that effectively, critical engagement is essential. It involves analyzing, questioning, and evaluating the material you encounter, rather than passively accepting it. All of these skills contribute to what we call academic literacy. This isn't just about being able to read and write. It's about understanding the conventions of academic discourse, developing a clear voice, and being able to communicate complex ideas convincingly. Together, these concepts form the foundation of how we participate in scholarly communities and advance knowledge. They're all interconnected, and mastering them is key to becoming an effective, confident scholar. Let's take a moment to look at the final slide, which covers our conclusion and recommendations. Here, we'll summarize the key points we've discussed throughout the presentation and suggest some practical next steps based on our findings. We also have our results and findings section, which highlights the main outcomes of our research. It's important to emphasize how these results support our overall thesis and what implications they might have moving forward. The methodology section reminds us of the approach we took to gather and analyze data. Understanding this process is crucial because it underpins the credibility of our findings and ensures transparency. Next, we come to the literature review, which provided the context and background for our study. It shows how our work fits into the broader field and highlights any gaps we aim to fill. The introduction laid the groundwork by presenting the problem and setting the stage for our research. It's the foundation that connects all the subsequent sections. Finally, understanding the typical structure of a research article helps us see how all these parts come together cohesively, guiding readers logically through the research process. Connecting all these points, this slide helps us see the bigger picture, how our research is structured, what we discovered, and how it informs future work. It's a comprehensive wrap-up that ties everything together and points us toward the next steps. Let's talk about some important guidelines for academic writing and research integrity. First, following the APA 7th style is essential. It helps ensure your references are consistent and professional, making it easier for others to verify your sources. Next, avoiding plagiarism is crucial. This means always giving credit to the original authors for their ideas and work, which maintains honesty and credibility in your work. We also need to consider the ethical use of AI. While AI can be a valuable tool, it's important to use it responsibly, ensuring it supports your work without crossing ethical boundaries. Proper referencing and maintaining integrity are at the core of responsible research. Always cite your sources accurately and be transparent about where your information comes from. In the bigger picture, these points are about upholding trust and credibility in academic and professional environments. They help ensure your work is respected and ethically sound, which ties back into the overall theme of responsible research practices. Let's take a closer look at planned learning experiences, which are at the heart of our approach. These are carefully designed activities that guide learners through the curriculum, ensuring they engage with the material meaningfully. They connect policy and practice, helping us translate our educational goals into real-world applications. When we consider outcomes, we're focusing on what learners are expected to achieve by the end of their learning journey. Clear outcomes help us measure success and ensure our teaching is effective. Curriculum concepts are the foundational ideas that underpin our entire teaching framework. They shape the themes and topics we emphasize, guiding how we structure learning experiences to promote deeper understanding. Putting it all together, these elements, learning experiences, policy and practice, outcomes, and curriculum concepts, form a cohesive system. They ensure that our educational efforts are intentional, aligned, and ultimately effective in supporting learner growth. Now, let's look at the different stages of curriculum development: attained, implemented, and intended. These terms are essential because they help us understand where we are in the process and what we need to focus on. When we talk about the attained curriculum, we're referring to what students actually learn and achieve in the classroom, the real outcomes. Implemented curriculum, on the other hand, is what teachers deliver in practice, including the resources and activities they use. Finally, the intended curriculum is what planners and policymakers design and aim for, what they hope students will learn. Understanding these distinctions helps us evaluate and improve our educational practices. It's all about connecting the vision with the reality and ensuring that the curriculum aligns with our overall goals for student success. Let's take a closer look at some of the key components that help us structure effective educational experiences. First, we have objectives. Clearly defining what we want our learners to achieve gives direction and focus to our teaching. Next, learning experiences are the activities and interactions we design to engage students and facilitate understanding. Evaluation then allows us to measure whether those objectives have been met, providing feedback for both learners and educators. Now, to tie it all together, we'll explore the Tyler model, which is a fundamental framework in curriculum development. It emphasizes a systematic approach, setting clear objectives, selecting appropriate learning experiences, and then evaluating outcomes. This model helps ensure our instruction is purposeful and aligned with desired results, which is essential in delivering effective education. Throughout this presentation, we see how these elements interconnect to create meaningful learning environments. Let's take a closer look at the process approach, which really emphasizes the idea of teachers acting as researchers. This means that teachers don't just deliver content, They continuously investigate and reflect on their own practice to improve student outcomes. It's about fostering a mindset of inquiry and discovery. One influential model that supports this idea is the Stenhouse model. Developed by Lawrence Stenhouse, this approach encourages teachers to engage in systematic research within their classrooms. It promotes professional development through reflective practice, where teachers analyze what works, what doesn't, and why. Ultimately, the process approach aligns with our overall theme of ongoing growth and innovation in education. It's about viewing teaching as a dynamic, evolving process, where teachers are active participants in their own development, constantly seeking better ways to support their students. Let's take a closer look at critical pedagogy. At its core, it emphasizes the importance of dialogue in the learning process. This means that education shouldn't be a one-way transfer of knowledge, but rather an interactive conversation where both teachers and students learn from each other. Dialogue fosters a more inclusive and democratic classroom environment, encouraging critical thinking and reflection. It's about creating a space where students feel empowered to question and challenge ideas, which leads to genuine transformation. This idea of transformation is central to critical pedagogy. It's not just about absorbing information, but about changing perspectives, attitudes, and even societal structures through education. One influential approach within this framework is Paulo Freire's method. Freire believed that education should be a liberating process, one that helps students become aware of social injustices and motivates them to take action. His approach emphasizes dialogue, critical consciousness, and active participation. So, overall, critical pedagogy, especially through Freire's approach, aims to create a learning environment where dialogue sparks transformation, empowering learners to become active agents of change. This ties directly into our broader theme of fostering more meaningful and impactful education. Let's take a closer look at thinking and reasoning, which are fundamental aspects of education. These processes shape how we understand the world and solve problems, making them essential for effective learning. When we talk about values in education, we're referring to the core principles and beliefs that guide teaching and learning practices. They influence the kind of environment we create and the attitudes we promote among students. Now, the philosophy of education ties all these elements together. It provides the underlying ideas and perspectives that inform our approach to teaching. It helps us ask important questions about what education should achieve and how it should be delivered. By understanding these philosophies, we can better align our methods with our goals, ensuring that education remains meaningful and impactful. All of these concepts, thinking, reasoning, values, and philosophy, interconnect to shape the broader theme of educational purpose and practice. They remind us that education isn't just about transferring knowledge, but also about fostering critical thinking, ethical values, and thoughtful reflection in learners. Let's take a moment to explore some of the fundamental aims of education. First, socialization is a key aspect. Education helps individuals learn how to interact effectively within society, understand social norms, and develop interpersonal skills that are crucial for community life. Next, we have economic goals. Education prepares individuals to contribute to the economy, equipping them with the skills and knowledge needed for employment and economic development. It's about creating a workforce that can adapt to changing industries and technological advancements. Personal growth is another vital aim. Education isn't just about job skills, it's also about developing a person's character, critical thinking, creativity, and emotional intelligence. It helps individuals realize their potential and pursue lifelong learning. All these points tie into the broader theme of education being a multifaceted tool. It's not only about acquiring knowledge, but also about shaping well-rounded individuals who can thrive socially, economically, and personally. Let's take a closer look at the different levels of control over education. When we talk about the state, we're referring to the government and its role in shaping educational policies and standards. They set the curriculum, funding, and overall regulations that schools follow. Moving on to parents, Who are the primary stakeholders in a child's education? They influence decisions through involvement, advocacy, and sometimes even through school choice options. Then there's the community, which encompasses local organizations, businesses, and residents who can support or influence educational priorities and resources. Finally, control of education is a broader concept that ties all these levels together, highlighting how authority is distributed among the state, parents, and community. Understanding these layers helps us see how education isn't just about schools, but involves multiple stakeholders working together, or sometimes at odds, to shape what and how students learn. This interconnected control is central to the ongoing discussions about educational reform and how best to serve students' needs. Let's take a closer look at the study of learning, which is fundamental to understanding how students develop and acquire new skills and knowledge. When we talk about learner development, we're really focusing on how individuals grow intellectually, emotionally, and socially as they progress through different stages of education. It's important to recognize that each learner is unique, and their developmental needs can vary widely. Educational psychology plays a crucial role here because it helps us understand the underlying mental processes involved in learning, things like memory, motivation, and problem solving. By applying insights from educational psychology, we can design more effective teaching strategies that cater to the diverse ways learners absorb and process information. Overall, these concepts are interconnected and central to our broader goal of creating supportive and effective learning environments. Understanding learner development and the principles of educational psychology enables us to better meet students where they are and guide them towards successful learning outcomes. Let's take a closer look at some of the key learning theories that shape how we understand teaching and learning. First up, we have behaviorism. This theory emphasizes the importance of observable behaviors and the idea that learning occurs through interactions with the environment. It's all about stimulus and response, with reinforcement playing a crucial role in shaping behavior. Next, we have cognitivism. Unlike behaviorism, cognitivism focuses on what's happening inside the mind. It looks at how learners process information, form mental models, and develop understanding. Think of it as exploring the internal cognitive processes that influence how we learn and remember. Then there's constructivism. This theory suggests that learners actively construct their own understanding and knowledge of the world through experiences and reflection. It highlights the importance of context and social interaction in the learning process, encouraging learners to build their own meaning rather than passively receiving information. Overall, these learning theories, behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism, offer different perspectives on how learning happens. They help us design more effective educational strategies by understanding the underlying principles of human learning. And, as we continue to explore this presentation, keep in mind how these theories connect to creating engaging, meaningful learning experiences. Let's take a closer look at the construction, mind, behavior, and learning theories map. This slide is really about understanding how different theories connect to shape our approach to learning. First, the concept of construction highlights how learners build their own understanding through experiences. It's about active engagement, where knowledge isn't just transferred but constructed by the learner. Next, the mind refers to the cognitive processes involved, how we think, process information, and develop understanding over time. Behavior points to the observable actions and reactions, emphasizing the role of environment and reinforcement in shaping learning. Finally, learning theories map brings all these ideas together, showing how various theories, like constructivism, behaviorism, and cognitive theories, interact and influence our teaching strategies. Overall, this map underscores that learning isn't one-dimensional. It's a dynamic interplay between mental processes, behavior, and construction of knowledge. Recognizing these connections helps us create more effective, engaging learning experiences. Now, let's take a closer look at the developmental stages, specifically focusing on cognitive growth. When we talk about cognitive development, we're referring to how children's thinking, problem solving, and understanding of the world evolve over time. A key figure in this area is Jean Piaget. Piaget proposed that children go through distinct stages of cognitive development, each characterized by different ways of thinking and understanding. These stages are crucial because they help us understand how children's mental processes change as they grow. Recognizing these stages allows educators and caregivers to tailor their approaches to match each child's developmental level, which is essential for fostering effective learning. Throughout this presentation, understanding Piaget's stages will help us appreciate how cognitive growth is a fundamental part of overall development. Let's talk about social interaction and its vital role in learning. When children engage with others, they're not just having fun, they're actually developing their understanding and skills. This is where the concept of the zone of proximal development, or ZPD, comes in. The ZPD refers to the range of tasks a child can perform with guidance, but not yet independently. It's essentially the sweet spot for learning. It highlights what a child can achieve with some support. Now, that support is often called scaffolding. Scaffolding involves providing just enough assistance to help the child progress. Think of it like a temporary framework that supports their learning until they can do it on their own. As they grow more capable, the support is gradually removed. This approach is rooted in the work of Lev Vygotsky, a prominent psychologist who emphasized the importance of social interaction in cognitive development. Vygotsky believed that learning is fundamentally a social process, and that through interactions with more knowledgeable others, like teachers, peers, or parents, children can reach higher levels of understanding. Connecting this back to our overall theme, understanding social interaction and these concepts helps us appreciate how learning isn't just an individual effort, but a collaborative process. Supporting children within their ZPD through scaffolding, guided by Vygotsky's insights, is key to fostering effective and meaningful learning experiences. Let's talk about learner diversity. It's important to recognize that every learner brings their own unique background, abilities, and ways of understanding to the classroom. Embracing this diversity means creating an environment where all students feel valued and supported. Now, this leads us to the concept of equal access. Ensuring equal access means removing barriers so that every learner can participate fully, regardless of their circumstances or needs. When we achieve equal access, we're taking a crucial step toward fairness in education, and that naturally connects to inclusive education. Inclusive education isn't just about access, it's about actively designing learning experiences that accommodate and celebrate diversity. It's about creating a learning community where everyone feels they belong and can thrive. Together, these ideas form a powerful foundation for making education truly equitable and effective for all learners. Let's take a closer look at the different roles involved in effective facilitation. We have the facilitator, the assessor, the leader, and the teacher. Each of these roles plays a vital part in guiding and supporting learning and development. The facilitator is primarily responsible for creating an engaging environment, encouraging participation, and helping the group stay focused on their goals. They foster collaboration and ensure that everyone's voice is heard. The assessor, on the other hand, focuses on evaluating progress and providing constructive feedback. Their role is crucial for helping individuals understand where they are in their learning journey and what areas need improvement. The leader sets the direction and inspires motivation. They provide vision, build confidence, and help the team stay aligned with their objectives, especially when facing challenges. Finally, the teacher role involves sharing knowledge, explaining concepts, and guiding learners through new information. It's about nurturing understanding and skill development. Connecting all these roles highlights how versatile and dynamic effective facilitation is. It's not just about managing a group, but about adapting to different needs and creating an environment where learning can thrive. These roles are interconnected and essential for fostering a supportive and productive learning space. Let's take a closer look at the different components that make up the technology in education. First, we have hardware, which includes all the physical devices like computers, tablets, interactive whiteboards, and even servers that support educational activities. These tools are essential because they serve as the foundation for digital learning experiences. Next, we have software, which encompasses all the programs and applications that run on these devices. From learning management systems to educational apps, software enables personalized and interactive learning, making lessons more engaging and accessible. Platforms are the environments where hardware and software come together. Think of platforms as the ecosystems, like online learning portals or cloud-based services, that facilitate content delivery, collaboration, and assessment. They provide the structure that supports seamless integration of various tools and resources. Finally, all these elements, hardware, software, and platforms, are driven by the underlying technologies in education. These include innovations like artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and data analytics, which are transforming how students learn and how educators teach. Connecting this to our overall theme, understanding these components helps us see how technology is not just about gadgets, but about creating integrated, effective, and innovative learning environments. It's about leveraging the right mix of hardware, software, and platforms to enhance educational outcomes. Let's take a closer look at some of the key technology models that help us understand how people adopt and use technology. First, we have the UTAUT, or Unified Theory of Acceptance and Use of Technology, which consolidates various models to explain user acceptance in a comprehensive way. Next is TAM, the Technology Acceptance Model, which focuses on perceived usefulness and ease of use as primary factors influencing technology adoption. Then there's TPACK, or Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge, which emphasizes the integration of technology with pedagogy and subject matter expertise. These models are crucial because they give us frameworks to analyze how users interact with new tools, and they help guide effective implementation. Together, they connect to our overall theme of understanding technology integration in educational contexts, ensuring that we support both the technical and human elements for successful adoption. Let's take a moment to explore some of the key players and themes shaping AI today. First up is ChatGPT, which has really revolutionized how we think about conversational AI. It's capable of understanding and generating human-like text, making interactions more natural and accessible. Next, we have Copilot, an AI tool designed to assist with coding and software development, essentially serving as a collaborator for programmers and developers. Moving on, ethics play a crucial role in how we develop and deploy these technologies. It's important to consider questions about bias, privacy, and the societal impacts of AI. Ensuring ethical practices helps us build trust and create AI that benefits everyone. Finally, let's talk about AI in education. AI has the potential to personalize learning, provide instant feedback, and support teachers by automating routine tasks. But it also raises questions about accessibility, data security, and how we prepare students for an AI-driven future. All of these points tie back to our overall theme, understanding how AI is transforming various aspects of our lives, and the importance of approaching this transformation thoughtfully and responsibly. Vamos a hablar ahora sobre la relación entre educación y sociedad, y cómo la desigualdad juega un papel importante en este contexto. La educación no es solo un proceso de aprendizaje individual, sino que también refleja y reproduce las estructuras sociales existentes. Es decir, las desigualdades sociales, económicas y culturales se ven reflejadas en quien tiene acceso a una buena educación y quien no. Esto nos lleva a entender la sociología de la educación, que es una disciplina que estudia precisamente esas relaciones. La sociología de la educación nos ayuda a comprender cómo las instituciones educativas contribuyen a mantener o desafiar las desigualdades sociales. Es fundamental entender estos conceptos para poder trabajar hacia un sistema educativo más justo y equitativo, que realmente sirva para reducir esas brechas en nuestra sociedad. Let's take a closer look at some of the major sociological theories that help us understand society. First, we have interactionism. This perspective emphasizes the importance of everyday interactions and the meanings people assign to their actions. It's about understanding how individuals create and interpret social reality through communication. Next is conflict theory. This approach focuses on power struggles and inequalities within society. It highlights how conflicts between different groups, based on class, race, or gender, drive social change and shape social structures. Then we have functionalism. This theory views society as a complex system made up of parts that work together to promote stability and order. Each element, from institutions to norms, has a role in maintaining the functioning of society as a whole. Finally, these sociological theories provide us with different lenses to analyze social phenomena. By considering interaction, conflict, and function, we gain a comprehensive understanding of how society operates and evolves. This interconnected perspective is essential for grasping the overall theme of our presentation, understanding the dynamics that shape social life. When we look at social issues, it's essential to consider the interconnected roles of gender, race, and class. These factors deeply influence people's experiences and opportunities in society. For example, gender can shape how individuals are treated, both socially and economically, and often intersects with race and class to create unique challenges. Race, on the other hand, can impact access to resources and how one is perceived within societal structures. Class determines economic stability and access to education and healthcare. All these elements are interconnected, shaping the social issues we see today. Recognizing these connections helps us understand the broader context and work toward more equitable solutions. So, as we explore these social issues, keep in mind how gender, race, and class are not isolated, but woven into the fabric of societal challenges and opportunities. This perspective is crucial for creating meaningful change. Let's take a closer look at the apartheid system and its impact on inequality in South Africa. The apartheid era was marked by a deeply entrenched system of racial segregation and discrimination that affected every aspect of life. It created a stark divide between different racial groups, especially between white South Africans and the non-white majority. This system not only oppressed, but also limited opportunities for the majority population, especially in education. Speaking of education, South Africa's education history is a reflection of this inequality. Under apartheid, education was deliberately designed to serve the interests of the minority, resulting in vastly unequal standards and access. Non-white students faced underfunded schools, inferior resources, and limited opportunities for advancement. This legacy of inequality in education has long-lasting effects, contributing to ongoing disparities in economic and social opportunities today. Connecting this to our overall theme, understanding the apartheid system and its impact on education helps us see how systemic inequality was built and sustained. It also highlights the importance of addressing these historical injustices as we work towards a more equitable future for South Africa. Let's take a look at the concept of transformation, which is really about the significant shifts that have taken place over time. One of the key drivers of these shifts has been policy change, which often reflects a move towards new priorities or ways of doing things. Specifically, the post-1994 reforms mark a major turning point. After 1994, there were widespread efforts to reshape policies, institutions, and systems to better meet the needs of the society. These reforms were not just superficial. They aimed to create lasting change and adapt to new realities. Overall, these transformations highlight how deliberate policy adjustments can catalyze broader societal progress, aligning with the overall theme of evolution and innovation in our development journey. Let's now turn our attention to some key takeaways through a comparative analysis. When we look at different systems, it's really valuable to understand what lessons we can learn from them. This helps us identify best practices and areas for improvement. Focusing on global education, we see a wide variety of approaches and strategies being implemented across different countries. Some systems excel at inclusivity and innovation, while others face challenges that highlight the need for adaptable solutions. By examining these differences, we can better understand what works well and why, which in turn informs our overall goal of creating more effective equitable education systems worldwide. This comparative perspective is essential because it encourages us to think beyond local contexts and consider global trends and insights, ultimately helping us build a more interconnected and responsive education landscape. Now, let's take a quick look at some of the countries we've been discussing. We have Egypt, Botswana, Sweden, and the USA. Each of these countries offers unique insights into our broader theme of global diversity and how different nations approach key challenges. For example, Egypt provides a perspective rooted in its rich history and evolving economic landscape. Botswana highlights sustainable development and conservation efforts. Sweden showcases innovative social policies and technological advancements, while the USA exemplifies a mix of innovation, diversity, and resilience. By examining these diverse countries, we can better understand the varied strategies and solutions that contribute to global progress. This variety underscores the importance of tailored approaches based on local contexts, while also sharing common goals of growth and sustainability. Let's take a moment to revisit some key theories we've covered. Revising these concepts thoroughly will reinforce your understanding and help you apply them more effectively. Practice writing regularly, as it's one of the best ways to internalize these ideas and improve your communication skills. And of course, as we approach the exam, focused preparation is essential, reviewing key points, practicing under exam conditions, and managing your time wisely. Remember, these strategies are all about building confidence and ensuring you're well prepared to demonstrate your knowledge. Keep these approaches in mind as you continue your learning journey, and you'll be set up for success. So, as we wrap up, I want to emphasize a few key success strategies. First, attend classes regularly. It might seem simple, but showing up consistently is one of the most important ways to stay engaged and keep up with the coursework. When you're present, you can ask questions, participate in discussions, and really absorb the material. Next, engage actively during class. Don't just passively listen. Take notes, participate, and connect ideas as they come up. Active engagement helps reinforce your understanding and keeps your mind focused on the learning process. Then, read widely. Don't limit yourself to just what's assigned. Explore additional resources, books, articles, or related topics. This broadens your perspective and deepens your knowledge, which can give you an edge in understanding complex concepts. All these strategies tie back to the overall goal of academic success. By consistently attending, actively participating, and expanding your reading, you're building a strong foundation for achievement. Remember, success isn't just about intelligence. It's about the habits you develop and the effort you put in day after day.